If you're adding notifications to your product, it's important to consider which channels you're using and why. If you consume too much of a user's attention with SMS or emails, they'll tune you out. In-app feeds and inboxes drive user engagement while keeping those messages contained inside your product. But when you've just finished building out your core features, the last thing anybody wants to do is stand up WebSockets or spec out new components. That's where Nock can help. We provide the tools to add real-time feeds and inboxes to your products so you can drive user retention without burning engineering time. In this video, I'm going to do a speed run of our Next.js quick start to see how fast I can stand up an inbox without using AI. So let's give this a go. Okay, so I've got my Next.js quick start open and my terminal open in the background. So I'm gonna go ahead and click the stopwatch so that we can get rolling. All right, step one is create a new Nock account. So I cheated a little bit and I've already got one. The next step is to create a blank Next.js application. So I'll go ahead and copy this command and open up the terminal to create that Next app. We're gonna go ahead and just accept all of the defaults, and then that's gonna spin for just a second as it creates us a blank project that we can work with. So come on, let's eat my time a little bit. All right, cool. So from there, the next step is gonna be changing into that directory. We're gonna go ahead and run npm install and then npm run dev just to make sure that everything is working. Cool, and that should take just a second and then start us up a server. And then we can open up localhost 3000 and just confirm that we see the default Next.js page. Okay, so that's all good. From there, we're going to move to installing our Nock specific dependencies. This is gonna be our React package and our Node SDK. So I'm gonna copy this command, go back to the terminal, go ahead and kill the server, and then run npm install to install those two dependencies. Now, after this is done, I'm gonna go ahead and bail on the terminal. I'm gonna open this project in Cursor and we'll do the rest there. And I said we were gonna do this with no AI, so I'm gonna close this down and just open up our terminal. And then from here, what we're gonna wanna do is create an environment variable file. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy this command to create a local.env file. And then we'll hop into the Cursor terminal and paste that and run it. And then we're also going to come down here and copy this, these actual environment variables themselves, and we'll add that to our .env local file. And then we actually need to go back out into Nock and get those values. So we'll hop into the Nock dashboard and we can find both of our API keys under the platform API key option. We'll go ahead and copy the secret key, and then we'll paste this in here. And then what we can also do is we'll hop back into the dashboard. And if we wanted to, we could also use our Command K menu to copy the public key. And we'll go ahead and use that to copy our public key. And then we're gonna need to grab one more thing from the dashboard while we're here. We're gonna go to channels and sources, find our in-app feed channel, and copy that feed ID. So we'll go ahead and replace that, and then we'll check in with our quick start guide to see what we got to do next. How are we looking on time? 2 minutes and 32 seconds. All right, let's see if we can keep rolling here. All right, so the next step is going to be actually adding the inbox component to our app. So we'll copy this command to create a blank component file, and then we'll come down here and copy all of this component code to toss inside of app inbox. And we'll run through what that looks like really quickly. So we're importing a bunch of different things from the React package. We're importing a Nock provider, a Nock feed provider, a notification feed, and a notification icon button. We're gonna go ahead and basically declare a fake user here with a fake ID. And if that doesn't exist, the Nock provider is gonna create that user for you in Nock using something called client-side identification. This is where we pass in our API key, our public API key, and our feed channel, and then we actually just display the notification icon button and the notification feed. All right, so all that's looking great. Now let's see what we need to do next. We're gonna actually render the inbox in our page component. So let's go ahead and copy this, come over to page.tsx, Command A, Command V to totally replace that file. And then I think we should just be able to run npm run dev to check stuff out. So let's do npm run dev and start up our development server. Okay, cool. And let's open this up in localhost 3000 and we should get a feed render. All right, perfect. We are on track. Let's keep rolling. So next we're going to start by creating a workflow in Nock. So I'm going to head back into the Knock dashboard, out to workflows, go to create a workflow, and then we're going to call this Knock Quick Start. And we'll go ahead and create this, and then that will bring us to the workflow builder. And then that will bring us to the workflow builder. From here, we're going to drag an in-app feed channel step over here, and then we're going to edit the content. We're going to basically leave this the same. What we're going to do here is just make a slight change, and we're going to basically access a message variable on our data payload that we'll pass in. And then we're going to go ahead and save these changes, and then we can commit them too, so that these changes are available for us when we trigger this via the API. So we'll just give it a commit message, and then we should be good from there. All right, so we created a workflow, added a step, designed the notification, committed the workflow. All right, cool. So next we're gonna head back into our Next.js project and create a server action. So I'm gonna copy this command, and then we'll come down here and we will Control C. Let's see you later, cursor. Go ahead and create that server action file. And then we'll come down here and copy these contents to populate our server action, and then take a look at what we're doing with the Node SDK. So we're importing Knock from the Node SDK, or passing in our secret API key. Again, here we've got that ID of the user that we created with our feed. And then all we're doing down here is triggering our Knock Quick Start workflow and passing in a message with that user ID as a recipient. Cool. All right, so we're almost there. The next thing we need to do is actually provide a way for our app to trigger the workflow from the browser. So I'm going to go ahead and create a component file using this command, and then we're going to populate that component file with this code. And this is basically just going to be a button that triggers that server action that we just wrote, so that when we click it, it sends us a notification. The last thing we need to do is add that workflow trigger button to our page component. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that code. We'll hop back into page.tsx and just replace it. And then I think at that point we are good to go. So let's go ahead and run npm run dev. And then we should be able to open this in the browser again. And then we should see a trigger workflow button. And if we click it, oh yeah, okay, where are we at? 6 minutes and 30 seconds. All right, that is really not that bad. So very, very cool. One thing to point out is if you wanted to do this with AI and wanted to do it in less than 6.5 minutes, you could have come up to the top of this document, click this copy for LLM button, copy as markdown, and fed it into Cursor. And I'm sure any day of the week it would have beat me. That's not really a bet that I'm going to take. But either way, hopefully you can see how easy it is to get an inbox up and running, and how easy it is to tie that inbox into multi-channel workflows. We could have added email, SMS, push, a whole bunch of different other channels or different function steps. So awesome. Thanks for watching. I'll try and improve this quick start to see if I can get the time down any, and we'll record some videos to see. I'll challenge myself. Awesome. Thanks for watching.